Привет всем, со мной мой студент Иля, это College Russian, и, кстати, у него тоже есть канал сейчас в YouTube, я оставлю ссылку в описании, in the description box. Today, we are going to be talking, Eli has a big test on Russian grammar coming up, so those of you who are taking a class on Russian grammar, you guys are going to relate to today's test. And he's very stressed about it. So today we are going to go over two things. One, how to level up your Russian. Okay. So for those of you who feel stuck, right? And you need to know Russian, like you're under pressure to get better at Russian. What do you need to be doing to do that? And then secondly, while you're taking a test, what your thought process should be. Yeah. So he's going to do that on screen for all of you. You can kind of see this process. So, хорошо. Вот, скажи, почему ты должен сдать вот этот экзамен по русской грамматике?
Ну, сейчас я хочу поступать в университете через 4 недели. То есть очень скоро, через месяц, да. И особенно с грамматиками, потому что это важно знать, чтобы изучать лучше в университете.
То есть он сейчас поступает в магистратуру в университете, который называется Middlebury. Это очень известная программа здесь, в США. Пожелайте, пожалуйста, ему удачи, потому что это большой, подвиг, это большая работа. So, my advice to him today is going to be applicable to everyone, right? This is even those of you who are just at level 1, but you really want to learn Russian, but you're going to just be seeing Eli doing it at a more advanced level, but you are going to be able to relate to every step of this, okay? So again, this is for people who want to level up their Russian. You're stuck in some way, you want to go up to the next level. You want to go from beginning to intermediate to advanced, etc. So my 3 advice that I want to give you is intentional exposure. So Eli, what do you do right now to be exposing yourself to Russian?
Obviously, I worked through some grammar packets. I worked through like a grammar book, an advanced Russian grammar book. I also listen to podcasts in Russian. I listen to music in Russian.
Good.
I speak with my wife in Russian.
Good. Awesome.
Yeah.
Okay.
Obviously,
awesome.
we meet together. We do tutoring. Tutoring is super helpful. I do believe having some accountability is
exactly. I like to think of your language tutor as like your personal trainer in the gym.
Yeah.
Right. Like I'll give you instructions. You need to do this and this and this, and then you meet up with me next time. And did you do it? Let's see.
Yeah.
You know.
Absolutely.
So good. So we're going to talk about these 3 things is what you need to be able to level up. And I'm going to use my horrible Portuguese as an example of why I'm failing in all of these ways and why my Portuguese is stuck very much. Because so intentional exposure, I'm exposed to Portuguese all day, every day. I hear it around me all the time. And my Portuguese is not getting better, ni kapelki, not even one bit. And that's because I'm not intentional when I listen to it. I'm like, okay, Portuguese. I'm not paying any attention to it. Now, if I were to sit down and be like, I really want to learn the vocabulary for food, then sure, my mother-in-law would be able to help me and she'd teach me things, but I'm not, right? So we're going to talk about how these are all, the key on all of these is kind of intention behind it. So here's an example of, you said you listen to music. That makes me very, very happy. So I went over and found out what's a popular song right now that's going on. And I want you to read it. And I just want to hear your thought process as you read the lyrics to this song.
Дура, потому что ты его игрушка, скачает о нем. Дура, потому что опять в эту ловушку. В эту ловушку.
So what are you thinking right now? Do you feel like you understand?
Дура, it's like a dummy, right? Like
a girl, idiot. A female idiot.
So like, girl, what are you doing?
No,
like
you're a fool because ты его игрушка.
You're a fool because you are his play toy?
His toy,
Like as he said, like
скучаешь. Нет, ты скучаешь по нему,
like
ты скучаешь.
To miss about him?
You miss him.
You miss him, but you fool because that's again a lie, like another lie.
Okay. So what I want to point out here is when you're exposed, when you're getting this exposure to the language, you need to be curious. That's how you be intentional of like, I wonder what lavushka means. I better look that up.
Yeah.
Right. So you're not going to learn the language if you're just saying to yourself, "Опять в эту ловушку," and you never take the time to figure out what in the world you're saying. Right. So you got to be curious when you're exposed to the language. Also, a big thing is you don't want to be listening to something that is way above your level. And I'll be putting out a video on this. It's called comprehensible input. It should be just slightly above your level.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So you should understand most of it, except for 20% of it is really kind of challenging, is new. So good. Yeah. So you understood most of it. There's just a word here and there.
What is a lavushka?
Lavushka is trap. You're in this trap again. Comes from the verb lavit, to catch something.
Okay.
So yet again, you're in this trap. So again, if you're listening to Russian music, every once in a while you want to stop and be like, I think he's saying that. I want to check the lyrics. I'm going to go online and check the lyrics. What does that mean? Right. So again, the key here is in that you're intentional and that you're listening to it over and over and over again. So again, this is where I'm failing in Portuguese. I hear Portuguese all day, every day, but I never stop and go, I wonder what that thing means, because I'm lazy and I'm to the point where I can communicate what I need to communicate, and that's enough for me. And I'm ashamed to admit that. Это мне очень стыдно. Но это так. Okay. Вот, номер 3. The next one is focused vocabulary expansion. So I had one student the other day who he said, like, I need to learn all these words. Can you help me work through my vocabulary list? And he sent me a vocabulary list and there was like 500 words on there. And he's a beginner. And I'm like, okay, bless your heart. You're not going to learn these 500 words anytime soon, because if you try to do too much all at once, you're not going to learn it. So I highly recommend one topic at a time. So like you just did that video on your channel about your sabaka. Yeah. Right. And it forced you to come up with all these words about, geez, how do I say like
paroda?
Paroda, like a breed of dog. Right. So it really focused you to focus your vocab on everything pertaining to dogs, right?
Hey, I feel dumb about that. I spent 10 minutes trying to find how to say border collie, and turns out it's just border collie. I was like, oh my gosh.
Yep. So and that's perfect. So again, that's why we want to focus on one set of vocabulary, especially at the beginner levels. Now you're more advanced, so you already have a broader vocabulary, but at the beginning levels, just focus on one thing at a time. And I'm going to give you an example. So this student who was all over the place with his vocab, I'm like, okay, we need to streamline this. So I recommended you're going to give yourself no more than 15 vocabulary words at a time. And you do not add more to that until you are an absolute expert on those 15 words. So this is the vocab list I created for him. So as you can see, what's the topic? Death and tragedy, right? Is there anything new on here for you?
Ramieni. That sounds familiar, but I wouldn't recognize it right off the bat.
What is
Ramieni.
it? Ranieni. Good. But everything else, it looks pretty familiar.
Yeah.
But so what I also want people to do is notice variations. You're not always going to get this form of the word to kill. Sometimes you're going to get ubit, right? Or ubistva, like a murderer, etc. So you want to become like an expert on all the various variations. So then to bring this vocab list to life, this is always what I recommend to people. Bring it to life. Try and see that word in context. So I gave him all these headlines where you could see these death and tragedy words from the newspaper. So read some of these off for me and tell me which ones you understand after looking at that vocabulary list.
В результате стрельбы в Монтерей-парке под Лос-Анджелесом погибли 10 человек, подозреваемого еще ищут. So the results of the
as a result of
the stabbings would be strelby, right? Or
strelba.
As a result of like the shootings in Monterey Park outside Los Angeles. 10 people died, and then the person that shot them is still being searched after.
They're still looking. Oh, молодец. Yes, super, super, super. Okay, let's look at this one. This is a slightly different variation on this verb. How about this one? Двое.
Двое погибших и 10 раненых до
На Донбассе.
на Донбассе. Новое обострение. So that's the dobishi. So it's like 2 of the killed. Wait, two of the killed.
2 people killed.
И 10 injured.
10 injured.
Wounded.
Очень хорошо. Молодец, очень хорошо. А следующий, вот здесь, Киев-Западу.
Киев-Западу ваша нерешительность убивает все больше наших людей. So ваша нерешительность. What is нерешительность?
Решить проблему.
Oh, so like the people that decide?
Indecisiveness, your indecision.
Your indecision
is killing
все больше наших людей. All of our, like a big chunk of our people.
More of our people. Yeah. You're yep. Versus, look at this version of kill. Киреева убили. Right? So again, when you become an expert on all the variations, you're learning you're tripling your vocab knowledge just in that one little exercise. Okay,
and
now
it does seem slow though, because you're learning like 2 verbs at the same time for one verb, совершение, right?
I know. But
and then all the past tense. Yeah.
If you can always remember it in context though, if you can always kind of have a context that you learned that word, you're more likely to remember it because you're associating it with an event.
Yeah,
right?
I do like the idea of categorizing them together. I haven't really even thought of that, of putting them into a category. Yeah, I like that a lot.
Okay, очень хорошо. Now this is the biggest one. And this is what we're doing in my intermediate classes at the university right now. And this is what you and I are doing. And you guys are going to see, we are going to take a sample test online from Moscow State University. And you're going to see that this is what you need to know. Okay? So for example, if I were to tell you, любить.
Кого?
Что? Кого? Например, он любит...
Яблочко.
Он любит яблочки. Он любит свою жену. Он любит своего брата. So that's the что, кого. Okay, what about от?
Кого чего?
От кого чего? Genitive case. Очень хорошо. Помогать.
Кому чему?
Кому чему? Правильно. Бояться.
Oh, I want to say it's is an от? Бояться от страха?
Nope. I would have put
it's genitive, but it's not от. So it's бояться страха, but it's not.
Бояться чего? Бояться чего? Смерти. Он боится аллигаторов. Он боится рака. Like he's afraid of cancer.
Mommy.
Боится мамы. Очень хорошо. Okay, so these are what are called in Russian, they're called Словосочетания. Словосочетания. You have to know these. And the better you get at creating these filing systems in your brain of nominative stuff here, accusative stuff here, the faster you're going to learn vocab. Right? You got to have those files ready to go in your brain. And then as you learn new words, bam, just put it in the genitive file. Bam, just put it in the accusative file, right? Okay, хорошо. Заниматься.
Чем?
Молодец, очень хорошо. Спортом, например. О или об?
That is prepositional. Ком чем.
О ком
that is.
Да, молодец. О ком о чем. Вот. Now, what happens if you encounter a new phrase or a new verb and you don't know what case it means? So, for example, on our vocab list, our death and suffering vocab list was this, не стало, meaning to pass away. It's a euphemized way of saying somebody died. So you're probably asking yourself, ну, блин, какой падеж? Не стало кем? Не стало кому? Okay, so what would you do? This is what I recommend you do. Obviously, you can look it up. Or you can Google it and see what kinds of examples exist in the world. So look at this headline and you're going to be able to tell me which case it gets.
Yeah, that's a nominative case.
No. Nikolai. The original of this was Nikolai Bas.
Nikolai. So it's genitive.
Молодец. Не стало кого. Не стало бабушки сегодня. What does that mean? If somebody says, ой, Илья, сегодня не стало бабушки. What are they telling you?
My grandma passed away today.
My grandma passed away. It doesn't mean she didn't become a grandma. Nope. That's the first time I heard that phrase. I thought I was like reading the text message, hearing that somebody had passed away. I'm like, are they sad because she didn't become a grandma? They were hoping, right? But it means it literally means. Yeah, I couldn't figure it out, and then I realized it means to pass away. So не стало кого. Okay, so now moment of truth. Are we ready? We're going to go over and take.
Oh, here we go.
This is MGU. And this is some of their sample tests. So in Russia, they have various levels, and this is kind of how they're broken down. Elementarny уровень, that's the one we're going to do. Bazovly. And then I passed this one when I was there, and then I had to get ready to pass the tretí in order to be in the philology department. The test you're probably going to take at Middlebury is going to be one of these two levels. So we're going to take a sample version of it. Okay, вот. Так, хорошо. Okay, so this is where you stop and you think, which case do you need?
Это статья O. So at first I see the O, so I'm assuming it's obviously prepositional, komchom.
Так.
And then I'm going to look for what ends in komchom. And I know that молодых писателях ends in komchom, and that would be plural. And
Молодец.
so the other options are all plural, so I'm going to choose the prepositional plural, молодых.
Молодых писателях. Ага, очень хорошо. Следующий. Дети, быстро. So this is verbal aspect.
Дети быстро. Дети быстро. So you want them to complete something. Домашнее задание и пошли в кино. И пошли в кино. That makes more sense. So you want them to complete something. So, oh my goodness.
Okay.
I'm going to.
Process of elimination. Which one can it not be? Tell me which one just doesn't make any grammatical sense.
So I know that it's past tense.
Okay, so this one immediately we eliminate it because that's not
it's immediately
past tense.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because they obviously pashli, so this is a list of things that they did. So
a series of actions.
Yeah, so it's not obviously it can't be делать, and then you can't use сделать in the past tense. So it has to be делать.
No.
Oh, is that the opposite?
No, yeah. You can use совершение and несовершение both in past tense. The one you can't use in a certain tense is you cannot use perfective in the present tense, but both of them can be past tense.
Oh, okay.
So which the question here is, do we need perfective or imperfective based on this sentence?
We need perfective because it's a list of things, isn't it?
Good. So now we got to think which of these verbs is the perfective.
Сделали.
Сделали. Молодец. Очень хорошо.
Дети быстро сделали домашнее задание, пошли в кино.
Ага. Они сделали так, потом так, и все. Так. Окей. Олег. So we really got to think пригласить, приглашать, plus which case? To invite.
So it'd be como chemo dative. You invite. Oh, you don't invite to someone. I would have got that wrong.
You invite someone. You invite
so
someone.
Kavo? Oh, so it is straight up accusative case.
Mm-hmm.
You invite kavo что?
Mm-hmm.
So Машу. Машу would be probable.
Mm-hmm. Очень хорошо. Машу.
Oh, you invite someone to something.
You invite somebody to something. Yep. And the thing you're inviting them to is getting accusative case again because
it's в кино.
Or я хочу пригласить тебя на мой день рождения if it's an event, right?
Nice.
Okay. Хорошо.
Я часто разговариваю с родителями. So, yeah, по интернету just sounds super wrong. And that isn't. Is that right?
Mm-hmm.
Are you insane? No, you're not.
Just think about it. How would you change this out for being by telephone? How would you say that you talk to somebody by telephone?
Oh my gosh. Why do I think that's so wrong then? I don't think I've ever said po internetu. But you totally say po telefono.
Exactly.
All the time.
Po internetu.
Let me ask you another question though. Obviously, it's по интернету, but if I'm like looking at something, if I was on the internet, like я был
V.
на,
See, that's
you
why
still say
we
the.
can eliminate, because actually it should be, if you're like, я сейчас смотрю в интернете, it's a в интернете. Whereas in English, we say на интернете.
And that way you can already know, like, oh yeah, well, it has to be. So that obviously isn't correct because it'd be в интернете.
If there was an option of в интернете или через интернет, there would be some wiggle room. But based on the other options, by process of elimination, по интернету.
Okay, that's good to know.
Так, окей, хорошо.
Oh, you got to click on that guy.
Что?
You got to click on that guy по интернету.
Oh, по интернету. Okay.
Okay. Рабочие идут.
Рабочие идут. So this one is a big one, and remember in your packet. By the way, all of the advanced stuff, these Словосочетания, these word combinations, knowing which case, that's going to be part of a big course I will have available on a website. I'm going to be launching this fall, and there will be an entire textbook of this that you can download. And there's a huge section of this textbook that Ilya and I often refer to about when you need v versus na. V versus na. Okay, so that's what this one is about. V or na.
So рабочие is like another word for like workers, right? So the workers идут. So I know that it's going to be на работу.
Good. So that eliminates this one.
Yeah. So it's either в завод на работу или на завод на работу. What is a zavod again?
Zavod is a factory.
Oh, so it's a factory, so it's enclosed. So I'm going to assume that it's v zavod na работу.
No, this is unfortunately one of those irregular ones. Na zavod.
You just have to know it.
It's super annoying. Same
good
with
process elimination, though, right?
Yes. Right. Same with Vokzal, the train station. Na vokzale. Because in olden times it would have been kind of an open air kind of thing.
Yeah, that makes sense. Interesting.
Okay, следующий. So it should be
на завод на работу.
Да, очень хорошо. Okay, летом студенты ездят. This is again another one. Do we need v? Do we need na? V versus na. V versus na.
So obviously the very last one can be canceled out because it's not accusative v or na.
Good.
So we know it's not going to be that one. So we know it's v radinu или na radinu. I'm going to say
which one sounds
so Rodina is like the nature, right?
No, Rodina is your homeland.
Oh, so that makes it even more tricky. I'm going to assume it's na or Rodina.
Молодец. Good. And I'm hoping that's one where you've just heard it.
Yeah, it seems more natural
just
to say
because
na.
You've been exposed to the language, you've heard it. На родину. Я хочу вернуться на родину свою.
Well, I can even say like na земле though. Like that makes more sense to me. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like na земле, like rodina would be like a land, you know, like na rodina.
Yeah, you can think of it like that for sure. Oh, okay. This is a good one. Another good Словосочетание that I think even my beginning students would know this.
Well, don't say that before I get it wrong, Jamie. Jeez. Мы не хотим играть в футбол.
Молодец. Спасибо, спасибо. You play to a sport in Russian. You don't play it. You play to it.
But they did forget the Amerikansky in between those two.
Right.
Шутка.
No, maybe it's an American here saying this, and they don't want to play европейский football. Okay, хорошо. Студенты мечтают.
Студенты мечтают. I'm trying to think of мечтают. Мечта. What is мечта?
See, this is where our vocab is important.
Каникулы. Каникулы. I'm assuming that's puppets, right? Каникулы?
No.
Is that like...
Каникулы is a break, like your winter break, your summer break.
Мечтают. So are they thinking about their break?
They're dreaming about it.
Mechta is a dream. Hot dog. Come on now. Come on, Aubrey. Anyway, so
this is where our vocab comes in, right?
Yeah, so they would dream about. So it'd be a каникулах.
Молодец, очень хорошо. Okay. Джону нравится. And we're doing this in my intermediate class right now.
Dude.
Как раз.
I'm gonna be honest with you. This is like super tricky because it's really foreign. Like it's just so different, right? So żonu, to żonu, that's why he's in dative case, and he nравится, and then it's чего-кого, accusative.
No.
Oh, it's nominative. It's nominative.
Nominative. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so it's just Masha. So
Masha.
Masha.
And this always,
So
for English speakers, this word order is super confusing.
So confusing.
Yep. Так, Masha. Очень хорошо. Okay. Next one down here is two verbs that people commonly confuse.
Yeah. So the two words are slushit and slishit. Slishit is to hear.
To just hear. Yeah, you're right.
Slushit is to listen.
To listen to.
Yeah.
So
я не люблю, and then I'm assuming they're just going to say, like they actually listen to the radio. Like I don't love to listen to the radio is probably the most common phrase there, and so it'd be slushit.
Slushit. Why can't it be slushаю? Why does that sound weird?
Because you can't have it has to be a perfective. I mean, it has to be like a infinitive because it's я не люблю.
Exactly. Yeah, because otherwise that would sound like I don't love, I listen, right? And it sounds weird in English too.
I don't love, I listen.
Okay, хорошо. Мы ходим в кино. This one's tricky.
Мы ходим в кино. Yeah, this one is tricky. But I'm going to say it's каждая суббота. And I would say it be wrong because I saw your face.
Yeah.
Yeah. Is it в каждую субботу? So it's obviously каждую субботу. Remind me of that rule one more time.
Frequency.
I get that it's habitual because of the chodim. Now it's habitual.
So often. Frequency gets accusative case.
Frequency gets accusative.
And because if it was just on Saturday, then it would be в субботу.
Yeah, like we're going this Saturday.
So frequency gets accusative case with no preposition. Accusative case with no preposition. Каждый день, каждый месяц, каждую неделю.
So frequency gets accusative
with no preposition.
Frequency gets accusative with no prep. Okay.
And that's also why you say something like раз в году. You don't say в раз.
Oh, yeah, that makes more sense.
Right? You just don't notice it's accusative because it's masculine. Каждую субботу. Так, хорошо. Oh, we were just doing this one the other day.
Yeah.
Завтра я иду в гости.
Завтра я иду в гости. So, like, tomorrow I'm going to
see your friend. To visit
to see your friend. So if you're going to somebody, then it is dative ke. But if you're going
to a place,
it's just v, and that's accusative, right?
An accusative.
So it's к другу. Завтра я иду в гости к другу.
Очень хорошо. Следующий. Летом мы будем отдыхать.
Летом мы будем отдыхать. Oh, same thing. So if it was frequency, then it would be just месяц. But where it's
or
not
duration, frequency or duration. What does the na mean? When we put a na, do you remember?
Yeah, it's emphasizing a completion. Like it'll be completed within a certain amount of time. No?
You're thinking za. You're confusing it with za. Na was our plan.
Oh, okay. So летом мы будем отдыхать на месяц because our plan is to be there for a month. No.
Yeah, maybe мы поедем на море на месяц would sound better, but here we could be like, we're going to be resting for a month.
So you just say месяц?
Месяц. I don't know. Maybe they had something else in mind here.
Летом мы будем отдыхать месяц.
Месяц. So yeah, it's possible they had something else in mind here. But when you're just saying how long we're going to do something, and you're not being like, we're planning to be there for 2 weeks.
Как я жил в России 2 года.
2 года. It has nothing to do with your plan. Yep. That's just how long it's going to go on.
But hold on. Let's say that their trip got interrupted. They wanted to vacation for longer.
Мы хотели. У нас был план. Right.
На месяц.
Да,
but
мы
then что-то
собирались на
случилось.
море на месяц.
Yeah.
We were planning to go to the sea
We
for
were
a year
fixing.
or for a month, but it didn't work out that way. Мы там остановились, мы там жили 1 день, и сын заболел ковидом, right? So if that was their plan.
Yeah, and just for all the Russian speakers out there, we say we are fixing to a lot.
That's from the South, yeah. I love that word. It's the perfect word. Okay, хорошо. Номер следующий. Я не знаю.
Я не знаю преподаватель. Oh, so they obviously don't know where their teacher or instructor is.
Good.
So
Why
you just say
so they're
где.
seeing, do you know the difference between где and куда? That's what they're wanting to know right here.
Yeah, so куда would be like as if you went somewhere.
If you're
like,
going somewhere, if there's
If
motion
you didn't know where
involved.
he went. But if you just don't know where he is in general, you don't know where he is. So you'd be like, я не знаю, куда преподаватель ходил.
Пошел, да, я не знаю,
Пошел,
куда
да.
он пошел, где он ушел
Да.
куда-то.
Yeah.
Да, молодец. Okay, this is a big one for English speakers. Oh, everybody struggles with this one. Выставка, the exhibit, откроется, will open.
I'm just going to say 5 марта.
Молодец, спасибо,
Ah!
спасибо. Oh,
Always trust your gut.
да, спасибо большое. Now, if they had the option на 5 марта, that would have confused a lot of English speaker because we think, oh, on the 5th of March, there's got to be a word на there. Nope.
Yeah, they were
Да,
helping us
очень
out
хорошо.
there.
Молодец. Okay. Мартин, this is very first year Russian, говорит по-русски.
Хорошо.
Молодец. Adverb. Хорошо. He speaks well. Мой друг завтра едет в...
Америку.
Молодец. It cannot be в Америке. That would mean like he's driving around inside Russia. Okay? Следующий.
That's the wrong one.
Oh, sorry. I clicked the wrong one. Okay. We've got a который phrase here.
Это мужчина знает все. So the мужчина gets the который, and then it would be который because it's a masculine word.
Да, молодец. Очень хорошо. Эта девушка...
Говорит по-французски. So that would be которая. Because it's the которая. Завтра я решил идти в кино.
Лучше будет пойти.
Почему?
Пойти. Просто так. Like you're gonna go. I'm gonna go. Yeah.
Oh, I
Those
get what
ones
you're
are
saying.
really,
It's like
hard.
Because in the past you decided to do something in the future, right? So завтра я решил, but пойти в кино. That makes more sense, yeah.
Oh, this is a good one.
Как зовут твоего брата?
Молодец, очень хорошо. And remember that. Look at what case that's getting, because that's going to come back up here in just a minute. Так, как зовут? So what's the difference real quick between зовут and называется?
Zavoot is like how they call. Like, how do they call your brother?
And so, it's like, specifically with animate.
Like introductions, yeah.
People.
And then называется is like, как эта ложка называется? It'd be like, what is this name of the spoon? If you ever have a spoon.
Yeah, exactly. You wouldn't, if you're the kind of person that names your spoons. Yeah. But yeah, exactly. So называется is for inanimate objects for the most part. Yeah. Okay? Завтра я обязательно тебе... интересно. Keyword here is what?
Обязательно.
Обязательно. Somebody's nagging you and you're like, dude, I will get it done. Leave me alone.
So I would say позвоню because you already have the ya. And then the
and why? So what aspect is that? This is an aspect.
Question. That is perfected. Like
perfected. I will do it. I'll get it done. Я обязательно.
Звоню would be like imperfective, so it wouldn't make sense.
Yeah. And especially with the завтра and...
Yeah, because you know there's perfect time, so.
Yep. Okay. Я не люблю писать. Oh, this is a good one. Sometimes people your level forget this one.
Карандашом. So it's
Молодец. Карандашом.
Because it's by the means of, not with, which is confusing for English speakers.
Exactly. So you write by means of a pencil, not like the pencil and I are sitting here writing a paper, you know.
That's
so, okay. Oh, verb of motion. Yay.
Yay. We love these. Oh my goodness.
But I'm telling you, like when I'm teaching my students all of these things, the verbal aspect, the verbs of motion, look at this. This is Moscow State University test. Like you need to know this stuff. I'm not lying to you.
Straight up.
You need to know this stuff. Okay, хорошо. Летом мы часто.
So a couple things here. You're going to see часто, so it's habitual. So you have to know that it's like the multi-directional form of the verb in motion.
Next important thing to know is this word, because that's really going to determine whether you get the by car or by foot.
So it's definitely not ходить, because you're not going into the revenue. Like
Деревня. Что такое деревня? Как сказать по-английски? The village. The village. Там есть дача, там живет бабушка, наверное.
Yeah, and like I guess you could walk, but like you're not going to walk to that guy. Like you're like за городом, like you're pretty far out of the city. So so it's going to be едет or ездит, but you have to know that it's часто. And so that's going to determine which one it is. And I got to be honest with you, I totally blanked, but I know that it's going to be.
I'm going to give you a hint. Do you remember about first conjugation and second conjugation verbs? Our habituals are all second conjugation verbs, if that helps you. What vowel is in a second habituals are second conjugation verbs.
Second conjugation verbs. So it's ездим?
Молодец. Ездим. Second conjugation verbs have e.
Jenny, you just gave me the life hack of my life. Hold on. Everything you just said.
I gotta send them videos to you. I have the habituals are second conjugation verbs. Ходить. Он ходит. Мы ходим. Вы ходите. Они ходят. Ты ездишь.
Where have you been? Oh my goodness.
I've been meeting with you 2 times a week.
Habituals are always second conjugations.
No, not the habitual of motion for the goings. For the goings.
Yeah, I get that.
For the goings.
And then it's always the E, right? The habitual
second. They've got the E.
So it's ездим. So, летом мы часто ездим в деревню.
Да, молодец, очень хорошо.
Лена часто рассказывает о... So, first off, where she's talking about her own brother, you'd have to use the свой, right? So
and then we need what case? We need what case?
That is going to be prepositional. So
good. So this one's gone because we need svoj. When it's a third person and they're talking about their own something, we need some version of svoj. And this one is not prepositional. So that leaves this.
Yeah. That one should have been a little trickier. They should have had the
I'm going to kind of skip a little bit. Oh, here's a good one. This was in your packet, the advanced level packet about prepositional case.
Дети, is that one? Дети любят, is that the one you're talking about? Дети любят гулять в лесу.
Молодец. So the reason that's in the advanced level is because it's an irregular preposition.
Yeah,
let's think of some more of this. В лесу.
На берегу.
На берегу, в снегу, на льду, в шкафу. Молодец, очень хорошо.
В детском саду.
Да, молодец. Очень хорошо. Okay, so now moment of truth. So that was, they were already giving you the endings. And then this is from the midterm that you took when you were in my class.
Hot dog, yeah.
And we're about to take it up a notch. Because we've got much harder vocabulary now. This is much more appropriate for an advanced student. We've got harder vocabulary, and you have to know the endings on these.
Yep.
They're not provided to you, and there's no process of elimination. Here we go.
Amen. Трудно англичанам.
Англичанам. Англичанам.
My other question is it AM at the end or is it YAM? I think it's AM.
It's an
Anglicanum. And that's because it is also kamo chemu dative trudna to the Americans.
It is, right? Or for English people, it's difficult for dative case, for this person, for that person. It's difficult for English people.
And then владеть, I'm going to say землю because I'm assuming that
because you're doing English in your brain. And this is why that whole packet that you have that's going to be on the online course eventually is these kinds of fancy words, memorizing the Словосочетания. What case does владеть get?
Now I'm assuming that it's genitive.
Nope.
Really? Чем. What is it?
Владеть чем.
Garbage. So it's землей.
Землей. Молодец. Землей. And then we've got Crimea.
В Крыму!
Молодец! Очень хорошо. В Крыму. You remembered that one, right? Крым is one of those irregular prepositional cases. В Крыму.
Sneaky.
Очень хорошо. Okay.
Sneaky.
Good. So
Владеет
this
forces
is
into
intermediate level Russian. We
Yeah.
remember that the seasons of the year are different. You don't really
Yeah.
say in the spring
You
like
say
you do in
весной,
English.
осенью.
Весной и осенью.
Да. У меня очень мало, and then мало forces genitive. So instead of saying свободное время, say свободный временный.
Свободного.
Свободного.
It's a neuter.
Oh, yeah, свободного времени.
Времени. And then we remember in our heads, and this is advanced level, that время is an irregular. It declines very strangely. Yeah. Okay. Следующий.
Моя старшая сестра зовут... мою старшую сестру зовут Марина.
Очень хорошо, очень хорошо. Everybody thinks, oh, it's going to get genitive because it's my sister's name. Why?
No.
Why is it getting accusative? What are you doing to Marina?
Well, it's still accusative case, but there's a feminine accusative. Oftentimes when there's a feminine masculine, it's because it's an animate object, so then it goes down to genitive case.
But when you're saying, in Russian, when you're saying somebody's name, you're actually saying they call
call Marina this. Yeah, they call my sister Marina.
Yep. So she's getting accusative. Okay, we've got a duration, and then we've got a Словосочетание start plus which case. So what's going to happen to this duration phrase?
I don't know.
Duration gets what case? Duration.
I have no. I don't know. Instrumental. I don't know. I want to say it's few season, so I'm assuming it's accusative.
Yeah, good. So that's where your instincts came in. That's where all of your exposure to the language is helping you out, because you're like, what feels right to me? Because I swear I've heard this before. Всю жизнь. Молодец. Он хотел стать.
I would not have known that actually created as a case, though. So if всю жизнь он хотел стать, then it's his instrumental case. So he wanted to start a пластическим хирургом. Хирургом. Plastic surgeon.
Да, молодец. Очень хорошо. And then our last one, and then I will stop torturing you.
Nice, thank you.
Я завидую.
Я завидую. So my first assumption, I don't even know what завидую means, but I'm assuming it just forces genitive because, for fun. No, it doesn't. What? Людям. Dative.
Людям. Молодец.
Why dative, though? I don't know.
Кому, чему.
So you just have to know that that's the
I have no idea why. That doesn't make sense for that to be a dative, but yeah, it is dative.
Я завидую людям, которые достигают. I'm just going to assume that it's like genitive, больших успехов. Right.
That's good. And that's right. That actually is right. And again, if you're exposing yourself to the language and you're doing these level up activities, stuff is going to stick in your head because you're intentional. You go back and you listen to the song over and over and over and over and over and over again, and it just gets stuck in your head. Or you're practicing your vocabulary words in context over and over and over again, and it just gets stuck in your head. That like убивать кого, убили кого, не стало кого. It just gets stuck in your head, right? If you're intentional with your exposure to the language. Again, I'm case in point why just because you hear a language all the time does not mean you are going to learn the language. Portuguese. Like I seriously, my husband says I sound like I'm drowning when I speak Portuguese. Okay, so if I were you, or if I'm a student who, after all these words we just learned, I would create myself a giant vocab list of these Словосочетания. Okay, so let's do it. What did we just learn about the verb?
Завидую forces. Oh, sorry.
Let's do владеть.
Владеть.
It's difficult for English people to own land in Crimea.
Yeah, so that force. Wait, what? Владеть.
Владеть. We just had this.
Prepositional case. Is that what you're looking for?
No. You remember you said землей?
Oh, so it's instrumental case.
Владеть чем кем. Hopefully you're not владеть кем. That's kind of creepy.
A little bit.
Так.
A little bit.
Так. And then if I were you, владеть чем, I would come onto Google and be like, I wonder what other examples out there exist.
Like using the word владеть.
Да, например, кто владеет компанией
Apple.
Компанией Apple. Да, кто сейчас владеет этой компанией? То есть кем, чем. Again, you want to expose yourself to your vocab words in an intentional way. Like, I'm going to learn these words. I'm going to practice them in lots of different contexts. Okay, завидовать.
Завидовать. What does завидовать mean again?
Envy.
I know that it forces dative, and it forces dative case.
Кому?
Is this still кому чему?
Кому чему? Я завидую твоим успехам. Я завидую ее красоте. Она такая красивая, а я нет, да? Вот. Следующий. Стать.
To become forces the kim cham.
Kim cham. And if I were you at your level, I would make sure to be learning the perfective, imperfective versions of all of this. Do you know the imperfective version of this verb?
Stanat, staniet, stanut, stanot.
You're like, come on. Становиться.
Oh, there's a s at the end too. I got them all wrong.
Так, вот. Следующее. Вот, там был достигать.
Достигать.
That's несовершенный вид. Достигнуть, yes, that's a version of it. The original is достичь.
Oh gosh.
And then достигнуть is the perfective они conjugation. And then it's чего. Чего? Кого? Last one, бояться.
Бояться. That is to be afraid. It's бориться, Taja, right? Is that the совершенный вид? Бориться? No.
No, there's not really a partnership of it.
And that's кого чего.
Кого чего, молодец. So даже я боюсь смерти. Я боюсь смерти. I'm afraid of death. Я боюсь болезней. I'm afraid of diseases. Так. Очень хорошо. So this is how you prepare for a giant test. This is how you up your game as far as your Russian, is memorizing these kinds of things. But don't just memorize them on a flashcard. Be intentional. Go find examples of them in songs. And then your inspiration for what to put on your flashcards comes from something you're exposing yourself to on a regular basis. Да? Окей, хорошо, это все на сегодняшнее видео. I hope that was useful for you. For all of you, those people, I'm always telling my students, if you have limited energy, put it into memorizing what case you need and when. Because it doesn't line up with English. English is going to lead you astray. And you're not going to sound good if you just say things the way, if you literally translate things word for word in English. You're going to sound weird. Так. Спасибо тебе большое, Илья. Это все. Пожалуйста, пожелайте ему успеха на своем экзамене, потому что это...
Спасибо.
У него сейчас много стресса, то есть он молодец. And again, if you're interested in that big textbook that I've written or the online course, that's going to be launched this fall in honor of my 40th birthday that's coming up soon. So, yeah.
Big party. Big party.
Big party. We're going to study Russian grammar for my birthday. Okay, хорошо. Это все. Пока.
Пока.